The perfect organism. Or is it? Maybe there is another, because Alien Covenant showcases another creature very similar to the Xenomorph. A creature whose life cycle might put the Xenomorphs to shame. And Ridley Scott, who I often criticize for shitting the bed with every single franchise or movie he had a hand with back earlier in his career. And I think he shits the bed a lot. I think he did it a lot as a child. Two problems. Not just David being the father of Xenomorphs and that establishment ruining the canon that all the fans loved about the alien, but another being that in many ways puts the Xenomorph to shame. A being that was meant to be just a weak prototype of the Xenomorph, an offshoot. But when you really look into it, it doesn't make sense. This is one of the most strange and bizarre aliens that this franchise has ever given us. Now, what is the perfect organism? The perfect organism is defined in many ways, but the reason why people call the Xenomorphs a perfect organism is due to their ability to have remarkable adaptability, their aggressive nature, and efficient reproduction cycle. Let's key in on that last one. The Xenomorph life cycle is one of the most beautiful, grotesque, and yet amazing life cycles ever in fiction of any creature, okay? Starts off as an egg created by a queen, and that egg has a facehugger in it that pounces on a living organism, puts a molecule within it that incubates and creates an alien fetus, and it bursts out of the chest to create an alien drone, okay? It's simple, yet beautifully complex. I love it. And it's also a very fast cycle. I believe in the first movie, it took a matter of hours for the creature to be fully grown. Now, this is why people don't like the offspring in Alien Romulus. Besides the fact that people hate the way it looks, a lot of people just despise the way it looks and doesn't think it's scary. I completely disagree with that notion because this thing looks like, once again, if Gabe from The Office lost Aaron and went on a coke meth spree, more cocaine than I'd ever done, shaved his head and started crawling on all fours for Aaron. That is a terrifying thought. But this creature, from the moment it was born, a baby, an infant, in its infant stage, it took about 3 minutes to be fully grown into this monstrosity. And people were like, holy shit, what are we doing right now? Now, I will say, when she took the pathogen injection, it took her a little bit of a while to get actually pregnant. I think it might have taken her 30 minutes to an hour to get pregnant from that point on. So it wasn't as completely fast as people might think, but the actual growth stage was insanely fast to the point where, okay, this ruins the precise complexity of the Xenomorph life cycle. It just looks like we're trying to outdo it, and it just ruins it completely. Why is this so fast when the Xenomorph takes an entire complicated life cycle to happen? Is a pathogen just this cheat code to life? But what if I told you there was another that maybe didn't grow as fast as the newborn in Romulus, but it still had a pretty fast life cycle. The NEOMORPH in Alien Covenant. You see, think about the alien life cycle, right? We have a queen that creates an egg, or David experiments with a pathogen and creates an egg, or the Xenomorphs are an ancient force and a Lovecraftian force that this began, and we don't know if it was the chicken or the egg, right? But the eggs are born, and the eggs have this mist around them that when it's penetrated, they can sense another organism coming by, and that's when the egg opens up, and the facehugger comes onto a person's face. And it's there for an hour, 2 hours-ish, a couple of hours, until it's done incubating and then it dies off. And then, maybe a couple hours after that, the Xenomorph baby will burst out, run away, and then a couple hours after that, it'll turn into a Xenomorph. That's the cycle that the first movie established, right? But in this, the NEOMORPH's life cycle is a bit different and way more insanely efficient, to the point where it doesn't fucking make sense. You see, we have spore sacs that are put in the plantation and the vegetation within the wildlife in this planet, okay? And these spore sacs, listen, there are a lot of them. So if you're dumb as fuck and you see a lot of them, you should stay away, okay? But it's very easy to step on one that's just in the corner somewhere, right? When you're smoking or taking a piss break. Now these idiots touch it and step on a bunch of them while smoking, and the characters in Alien Covenant are low IQ. They're just so stupid. But with Xenomorph eggs, they're huge. So unless you have the IQ less than 30 or 20, you want to stay away from that. When you see it, it's like there. It doesn't blend into its surroundings at all. But the sacs kind of do. It's very easy for you to either not notice them or see them and just pass them off as like some part of that new wildlife vegetation, right? They're way more stealthy in design. And when you step on them, a spore easily comes out. The spore is the size of like this, a speck. and it can go into any orifice of your body. Ears, nose, eyes, and this makes me cringe because my ears are fucking sensitive shit, and I couldn't imagine a spore coming into my ear. And it goes in and easily gets inside and infects the host. And it's not necessarily regulated to just a chest burst. Back burst, chest burst, throat, mouth burst. It can burst out in a variety of ways. It's not limited in that regard. And when it does come out, it comes out looking like this. Now, remember what a xenomorph looks like at a baby stage. It looks like a serpent, and it has to just run away. It doesn't have a lot of ways to attack you. This mofo attacks. It attacks violently and viciously with its sharp talons and tail and all that. It has everything it needs to attack right on the onset of being born, to the point where it causes a goddamn ship to explode. Granted, it was dealing with moronic female scientists with guns who were trying to shoot at everything. Those idiots. But then it runs away, and 5 minutes later, it comes back looking like this. Either the size of or bigger than a human, strong as fuck to the point where it whipped Walter, a strong synthetic, across the field like 10 feet, and his hand got torn off. It's got the ability to bite a head off with a single bite. And in the concept art, we see it manhandle human beings. Like, dude, this thing seemingly was just as strong as a xenomorph, right? Now, you have to ask, okay, is this the perfect organism compared to a xenomorph? Well, let's compare them. Guys, I need to stop the video really quick and tell you, you need to click the like button right now or Hollywood will molest me. They've already sent a couple operatives after me. They're on their way. Please like the video, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed already, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Subscribe. Let's blow this video into the ether. Join my army. Physically, there's a deleted scene where the xenomorph actually fights a neomorph and tears it apart. I believe it tore a couple of them. So clearly it's stronger and it has way more ways to win, right? Because remember, the xenomorph in Alien Covenant is an ultramorph. It's supposed to be inferior to a xenomorph. It's like a model for it. So we can assume a xenomorph is even stronger than that. And it has that tongue that can pierce and stab. The neomorphs don't have that. So again, the xenomorph has more ways to win and it's stronger, right? So, but then there's also the case of, okay, can the neomorphs be loyal or controlled or domesticated? Because there's a scene where after it's just killed a person, eaten it, it looks at Walter and it doesn't attack it. And then Walter starts comparing it to a horse. So we see aliens don't attack synthetics because why would they? Synthetics are not biological organisms that they can be used as hosts or food, right? Xenomorphs have nothing on them. But in Alien Earth, we see in behind the scenes photos that xenomorphs do attack synthetics, and we know synthetics are going to be killed by xenomorphs. Now, I don't know, maybe the xenomorphs are getting provoked and that's why it starts, but in this scene, it's implied that a neomorph could be controlled by someone like David, right? It could have a master, maybe. So, I have to ask, xenomorphs don't strike me as beings that can have a master or can be controlled. So, what is the perfect organism? A being with an efficient life cycle, way faster, that can be controlled, or a being that is way more complex in its life cycle, but is a complete death machine? It depends on your perspective. But it's a very interesting question as to what is a perfect organism. Now, I do think Ridley Scott needs to stop this shit, because now we're introducing a whole new level of aliens that are making the original life cycle just look pathetic. And the subtle complexity of the xenomorph itself is gone now. I love new monsters and hybrids and all that stuff. I'm a big monster fan. I love the lore expanding all the time, but the vitality of the original creature is kind of going away as we do this. And I get it, xenomorphs, you need to introduce something new when you're making these movies. I get it, but I can't help but notice that. All right, those are just my thoughts on that. If you want to know my thoughts on Alien Earth, which seemingly has 5 new alien organisms that is showcasing, well, including the xenomorph, so 4, but there will be another hybrid, I'm guessing. You can see that in my video over here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. But the army must keep growing. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movies or favorite film theories in a community with like-minded individuals, join the Zafy Discord now. Link is in the description and the comment section as well. Join us. This movement is just beginning. We're taking over Hollywood, one coke line at a time.